what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Post Cologne. Today we're going to take a look at a new release from Afnan, and it's Tobacco Rush. Alright, so Tobacco Rush is from the house of Afnan, and you can pick this bad boy up for $50 at places like Fragrance Buy. I'll have a link down in the description if you decide you want to check this one out. I also have a coupon code, save yourself $5 off your first purchase at Fragrance Buy if you decide to shop there. Link will be down in the description if you want to check that one out. Presentation on this, very, very nice, Afnan. It's got this kind of gold-plated metallic look to it and kind of like a suede-y little side to it here. It is a cheap plastic. That's not like a metal casing to it or anything like that, but in terms of looks, aesthetics, it is very nice. It is a very appealing, almost gorgeous looking bottle. And it does have a magnetic cap. Love me a good magnetic cap. Look at that bad boy. I could sit here and play with that, like, because I'm a child, for several hours. Awesome presentation, I really enjoyed this one, but again, it is a little bit on the cheap, plasticky kind of side, so this could crack if you were to be a little rough with it, but overall, really nice presentation. All right, so presentation aside, let's talk about how this bad boy smells. When I heard Afnan came out with a new tobacco style fragrance, I rushed to pick this one up. See what I did there? I'm a big fan of tobacco fragrances. I love all different styles of tobacco fragrances. When people hear tobacco notes, they might think kind of like a similar style vibe. There's so many different kinds of tobaccos. There's kind of wet tobacco, there's pipe tobacco, sweet tobacco, honey tobaccos. And in this case, you get a nice, dry, rich, almost leathery style of fragrance mixed with some spices, a little bit of sweetness, and like a little bit of woodiness and a touch of oud. And it's an absolutely wonderful scent profile. I love how this comes across. The notes listed are very vague. They're more descriptors than they are of actual like note breakdowns. So in the top you get tobacco, warm spice, and some woody notes. In the mid you get some sweet notes, some fresh spice, and some lavender. And in the base you get this amber and this cedar that comes through with that touch of wood that comes through. Or oud, sorry, I should say. Touch of cedar, touch of oud, touch of amber in that base. And it's a gorgeous, well-blended fragrance. That tobacco that comes off is very rich, has a little bit of depth from it, from that spices that come through, and it's just sweetened up enough from those sweet notes and that amber that kind of adds to the dry richness of it. It's almost got a little bit of a resinous sweetness, like almost like a kind of a benzoin style of kind of resinous thickness to it in that sweetness, but it's not an overbearing and it's not a sweet fragrance by any means. Like I said, it's the very spicy, leathery, dry tobacco style fragrance. Very masculine, sort of rugged. It's got that kind of like cowboy or CEO in a power suit sort of like boldness to it, that masculinity to it. I know a cowboy and a CEO are maybe a little bit different. You can be both. Who am I to judge? It does have that kind of rugged appeal to it, and I really enjoy that style of tobacco. It's just beautiful. That amber kind of adds that sweetness to it, a little bit of powderiness that comes through. And with that mix of spices, I do pick up on like a hint of cinnamon perhaps as one of those spices in there. And it just adds a touch of that sweetness, but also a touch of that spiciness to it. Gorgeous scent profile. I really, really enjoy this one. There's no real rough edges to this. Like the opening is just gorgeous. There's no like cheap sort of feel to this. This is kind of one of the more premium style fragrances from Afnan. Like I said, it was about $50. So it's not like their lower end, but it's not their high. It's kind of a mid-tier fragrance. And so it has that kind of like level of quality to it. I think it's higher quality than the $50 you're gonna pay. Absolutely love the scent profile on this one. Beautiful, rich, masculine tobacco. Now in terms of performance, I actually got really good performance off of this. About 7-8 hours of longevity, and the projection off this for the first hour or two was beyond an arm's length. It's not a beast mode fragrance. This didn't project off like a Mancera Red Tobacco, for example. It did do fairly well in terms of projection, and then it did settle in a little bit closer, but it was just a really nice scent bubble I had throughout the day when I was wearing this. Like every time I wear this, I think I go nose blind to it for a bit, and then I get a nice whiff of that rich, dry tobacco and that spiciness with a touch of sweetness that comes through. I love the scent bubble on this, and just getting those whiffs of it throughout the day when I'm out and like kind of move out of the room and come back in, and I just kind of re-experience this fragrance all over again. Really enjoy that. And again, performance on that, scent bubble on this was fantastic. And longevity, if I get 8 hours out of a fragrance, I am more than happy. Super pleased with the performance on this. Did very, very well. For 50 bucks, totally worth it. Now, in terms of the when and the where you should be wearing Afnan's Tobacco Rush, I think this is a perfect casual fragrance. I think this is also a great date night fragrance. It has that masculine, sexy, rugged appeal to it. I think this would do great for date nights. It would do great on evenings out, but you can wear this casually too, out with friends for lunch, running errands, all that kind of stuff. It just has that vibe where you can just kind of wear this out, do a variety of different casual activities, as well as take your lady out or your gentleman out for a nice evening, and you just have that kind of that sexy appeal to it from that rugged edge that comes through with this fragrance. Formal, I think you can wear this formally too. I mean, I don't go to many fancy formal events, so like, I don't really know. It doesn't necessarily have that kind of like elegant, sophisticated side to it. So like if you go to the opera, I think that's what fancy people do for formal events, is go to things like operas or like fancy dinners or something like that. This might not suit the vibe necessarily, but you do you. If you want to kind of have that rugged cowboy CEO sort of feel when you're out at the opera, this could do very well, but I think this is definitely more of that casual date night sort of fragrance. Evenings out, lunches with friends, that's where this suits best. In terms of like seasons, I definitely think this is just a fall banger for sure. This just has fall written all over it. Nice cool fall evenings, cool brisk fall days. This is just gonna shine. Wintertime as well, I think this does great in the wintertime. It's got that kind of warmth and that coziness to it that just would push through that cold and just help you bear those terribly cold months. I think that does perfectly fine. Summertime, it just doesn't have that vibe for the high heat. I think with that tobacco, that spiciness, and that touch of sweetness in there, this just wouldn't suit summer. I don't know if it would come across cloying, but it might be just too much in the summer. I don't think it has that vibe. In springtime, perhaps, but it doesn't have that spring vibe. Fall and winter, I definitely think this is where this one suits. Casually, date night, evenings out, maybe even formally, I think this is a great fragrance. So overall, I think Afnan's Tobacco Rush is an absolute fantastic purchase. I'm so glad I have this in my collection. Totally worth the $50 I picked this up for, and it just adds another different style of tobacco to my collection. I have a lot of tobacco style fragrances that kind of lean more on the sweet side. So you get tobaccos with like vanilla and cacao, like a little bit of like honeyed notes and things like that. A little bit more on the sweeter side, a little bit kind of like pipe tobacco, rolled cigar. This one just adds to that collection in terms of giving me an option of some fresh, dry tobacco, that leathery tobacco sort of vibe, and I absolutely love it. Again, it's balanced out with some nice sweetness to it, a little bit of fresh spice to it, and a little bit of woodiness and that touch of oud. This kind of sets it apart from other fragrances in my collection, and I'm super glad I have this one. Performance, I cannot complain about. I get great performance out of this one. Not beast mode, but it is a good all-day wear that I'm quite happy with. Fall winter banger, I'm gonna be wearing this quite a bit in the coming fall and winter. Absolutely think it's worth checking out. If you like tobacco style fragrances, you should get your nose on it. It's Afnan's Tobacco Rush. And I want to hear from you guys. What are some of your favorite tobacco style fragrances? Let me know down in the comments below. What are some ones that I may not have checked out that I should be checking out? What are some of your favorites? Love hearing from you guys. Love getting your recos. So go do that. Go type in the comment box. Let me know. Appreciate you guys. And if you enjoyed this video, which I think you did because you're at the end of it, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.